So earlier this morning, Mappa made an official statement on social media and on their official site, basically talking about the controversy that's been ongoing for the past few days, and in all honesty, been ongoing for months now, ever since we found out in May that a freelance animator quit because of sweatshop-like conditions at the studio. So let's cover this article, let's discuss it, and let's just see what Mappa has to say, what the PR team of Mappa has to say about this whole situation that's been ongoing. Because apparently this news is definitely making waves. From what I could find, there is some official Japanese news sources that are actually discussing this problem as well. One of the articles in question I'll show on screen, but also I'll link it in the description if you're interested. You have this article is actually talking about the situation of Mappa too. So it is fascinating to see that the current stuff that's been ongoing for the past few days is definitely reaching Mappa's ears, and they're having to make official statements about the awful work conditions that's been happening to the animators. So I want to make something very clear though before I go into reading this article from Studio Mappa, that I'm not just talking about Studio Mappa. There is other issues at work here. The entire anime industry is at fault. Just Mappa is in the spotlight recently, so it's important to talk about the current situation at hand. But in terms of low pay and overwork, this can be applied to pretty much almost every single animation studio in Japan. So this isn't just me picking on Mappa. This is actually being kind of directed at the entire industry. So I just want to make sure I clarify that, because I feel like some people think I'm only going after Studio Mappa and not talking about the entire subject, just low pay for animators in general. Now, another thing I'd like to do is give a brief shout out to Admiral Fondant for this Reddit post talking about the current Mappa situation, and also kind of letting people know about the article Mappa released today. I really appreciate seeing more people talking about the subject. It's definitely big news that needs to be talked about, so I'm just happy to see more people picking it up, and that it's definitely making waves now, because this is a serious issue that is affecting everyone that is in the anime industry, not just people that work for Studio Mappa. Let's read this. So this is going to be put through DeepL Translator. From what people were telling me with my last two videos I made, that apparently DeepL Translator is a lot more accurate than Google Translate. Now, here's the thing, there still potentially could be some discrepancies between the Japanese and the English translation, so anyone that actually can read the Japanese, could you please confirm if this is a really good translation to the article, and if it isn't, could you give some clarification? But anyways, let's actually look at what this article says. So, leakage of information about our unpublished work on SNS. We have recently discovered that internal information about our unpublished work was leaked in a misleading manner on a social networking service. So this is basically Mappa's PR team accidentally exposing themselves, saying that the employee that spoke out about the low pay rate that Netflix was trying to negotiate with Mappa is legitimate. So this right here is kind of just baffling, just to see that they have their opening statement of their little article here, their actual press release, admitting that it was a real employee speaking out about these problems. So that right there, that's huge. That's very, very huge. This gives validation to everything that's been going on for the past few days. As a result, some of the information was cut out and additional exchanges based on misunderstandings and speculations were added, resulting in an unjustified distortion of the facts and causing a great deal of inconvenience to our business partners and other people involved in the work. So this right here is the PR team basically admitting that Netflix and other, companies that are affiliated with Studio Mappa at this point are actually upset with the current controversy, and Mappa is getting yelled at for it. So that's fascinating. So once again, it seems that this news is definitely making waves, and that, even other companies that are affiliated with Mappa are talking to them about this, and it's like, hey, we don't need this controversy and all that right now. We don't need, us getting exposed for poor work conditions. As a matter of fact, the work in question, which is not yet published, is not a project that we were commissioned to produce by a major platform. The work in question is a new TV series work that we produced in the past, and for which we in the production committee have been waiting for a long time. And we are finally able to receive the production order after production committee's managing company confirmed the sale of the work to a major platform. The production cost has also been set based on that sales amount. In the past, as well in the case of this work, we have never forced creators to accept orders at unreasonably low prices that were not commensurate with the production costs we received. So this is pretty much Studio Mappa saying, if you want to be an animator, if you want to work, then do not complain. And this is very fascinating. They're basically saying, like, you know, people are always accepting the low pay. They're always accepting the fact that, you know, the pay they're being received, so obviously there's not a problem. This is basically a like off or backhanded way of Studio Mappa admitting, yeah, we're paying garbage rates, but people are not complaining, or people, you know, are accepting them, so what's the problem? It's okay to pay people $2 for in-cut bit in between animation sequences. It's okay about that. There's nothing wrong. You know, once again, they're agreeing to the terms, so it's fine. So Mappa literally just put their own foot in their mouth, admitting that yes, they are paying low rates. People accept them, so why should they change? Why should they pay them higher? Now, this is apparently a screenwriter/director that made a comment earlier today about some of the reasons why maybe some people would actually accept low pay. It doesn't matter whether Mappa sets the unit price to 3,800 yen, 1,000 yen, or 100 yen. Freelancers just have to get the job. The problem isn't there. So, to kind of give a little bit more clarification to what this director/screenwriter is saying here, basically, they're talking about the fact that when you're an animator, you need to make money. Anybody that has a job knows you need to make money. And if you're an animator, you need to have a job. So they're going to accept anything they can to be able to make money, which leads to factory-like conditions, sweatshop-like conditions, and overwork as the main subject that's been ongoing for days now, and honestly years now, within the anime industry. So this right here basically says the problem isn't the fact of just like freelancers accepting the pay. The problem is that these studios think they can get away with it. These studios thinking that it's okay. Since they're accepting it, it's okay to continue forcing this slave labor type conditions on individuals. Since many companies and creators are involved in the protection of animation works, conditions are agreed upon between the parties involved, and the information management is also under strict control, especially for works that have not yet been published. There is a risk that the parties involved may be accused of violating the contract, and the work itself may be abandoned. We strongly protest against such information leaks and are determined to take divisive action. So to give a little bit more context to this, Mappa's pretty much saying that if you talk about, you know, how much you're potentially getting paid or how little you're getting paid, or you try to talk about how, you know, you're getting overworked or sweatshop-like conditions, etc., you know, you will definitely potentially get fired, or you won't be able to work here anymore, and maybe your career as an animator will be completely tarnished. And to make matters worse about all of this, I like how Mappa, in this official statement on their main site, they tried to deflect the actual ongoing problem and try to make it seem like, oh, there was a leak and all that, and that's the big concern. It's not the fact that people is getting overworked, it's not the fact that people are quitting because of sweatshop-like conditions, it's not the fact that the pay is low, it's the fact that there was an apparent leak of information about this subject that is the main problem. So, once again, when you really take a look at this, it's just nothing but deflection going on throughout this entire PR statement release. Now, the last closing statement of the article says this: our company aims to produce the best works possible within the production costs set for each project, making every effort to be creative in each case. We will continue to make every effort to improve the working environment and conditions. Thank you very much for your continued support. To briefly summarize this article, it's a whole lot of words and a whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of Mappa putting their own foot in their mouth and exposing themselves to some things that we've been discussing for a very long time now. This is outright depressing and sad, and it's just like, they are pretty much admitting that they are paying low rates and they can get away with it. There's nothing people can do. It's sick. But at the same time, though, it's that clearly something is going on internally, because they admitted that, you know, their business partners are getting upset with them, so it's apparent that, you know, news source is spreading and they are getting a lot of flack for it, so potentially there could be some change if, you know, they continuously get more pressure. So that's pretty much it. So once again, I will be linking all the articles and all the information I gathered in this video in the description, so if you want to check it out for yourself, if you want to read through it and see kind of everything going on, please do so, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. If there's any more information, I'll make sure to update all of you guys and let you know. But with that, guys, be safe. Chibi out.